What's up, guys? We are back with another Super 7 Ultimates Power Rangers Wave 2 review, taking a look at, well, a Ranger this time around. We're taking a look at our Red Ranger. So we got green and yellow in Wave 1, we're getting red and pink in Wave 2, and this is also two Rangers if you want. This is Jason or it's Rocky. Now he comes in our standard style packaging for the line. You've got a slipcover, so we got a T-Rex coin on the front, you've got your Power Rangers logo on the back. Pop that slipcover off, and we've got our figure there in the big window, of course, with all of his accessories. We've got our green color scheme, the lightning bolt motif wrapping from the front to the back, and then the back of the box gives us our bio for the Red Ranger. You get a little pic of the Ranger himself encircled in some gold foil, and then you get a little shot of the T-Rex coin down there at the bottom. So yeah, let's do it. Let's pull them out and take a look. And here we go, out of the package, our Ultimates Mighty Morphin Red Ranger. So depending on your preference, Jason or Rocky. And if you're familiar with Wave 1, specifically the Green Ranger, you basically know exactly what to expect with this guy, because not only is this, you know, an example of a line where it's pretty normal for parts to be shared across, you know, the males because they're all the same, or the females because they're all the same. The Red Ranger and the Green Ranger, of course, you know, sort of cross-pollinate each other because they share accessories in the show, and that's what we get here as well. So you get the ability to have your Dragon Shield Red Ranger in the same package. So it's all, you know, it's all parts swapping. So you can have basically every version of the Red Ranger, every version of the Green Ranger, and have them sort of reenact that scene where they, you know, transfer the powers. So we get it all in one go. So let's see what this guy can do, see how he moves around. Again, if you're familiar with that Tommy figure, you know exactly what to expect here, which is to say, pretty decent. They're slightly better than average for Ultimates in general, just because they tried to push it a little bit. They tried to push it as far as they can, I suppose, in terms of single joints to make Rangers. So we've got a head that can look up really nice. He can look down really good. No tilt on these. You've got rotation. Arms out at the shoulders, basically all the way. They will swivel, of course. Now these are meant to pop out, so if they do pop out, you know why. They're meant to swap entire arms to swap with the Dragon Shield. You've got swivel at the bicep. We've got single jointed, almost 90-degree swiveling elbows. You've got hinges and rotation at the wrist. And I'm going to stop and talk about the wrist for a second, because I'm not sure if I'm correct or not, but I sure as hell think I am. These hands that come in the arms, so that is to say this set of arms and the arms that have the Dragon Shield bands on them, because they're two sets of arms, another set of hands come in those. I swear the pegs in these hands are slightly larger than all the extra hands. So the stuff that you'll find in the tray seem to be a hair smaller, and I had a hell of a time getting these hands out. I was really concerned that they were going to break, so watch swapping hands. Those pegs do seem to be, I don't know, they seem wonky at the very least. So buyer beware. We've got an ab crunch, and this is like my main complaint with this set of figures with this body style, is I just don't like the way this looks. It's the goofiest looking ab crunch, and it works all right. Like, it's okay, but it's not that great either. Like, they really don't crunch that far forward. It's an awkward cut, to say the least. I would have really preferred them to have just some sort of diaphragm swivel or a ball peg at the torso. You do get that down here, and it does help a little bit, but it's not doing a whole lot. You do have your swivel down there also. That's probably my one real complaint. You've got your legs that kick out about that far. It's not the splits. They kick forward about that far. They go backwards slightly. You got your thigh twist up there. You got single jointed knees. They do afford a little shimmy. And then you've got your boot cut up there. And then we've got really nice rocker and hinges down at those ankles. So pretty normal. I mean, in that regard, pretty normal from the waist down, nothing too crazy there. The only thing I'd really say to watch out for is those wrists, and that's not necessarily a joint issue. It's just more of an observation on whether those pegs are somehow different. Otherwise, he moves pretty well. Slightly better than average for, well, just about the majority of Ultimates. Now, as far as the overall look and feel, I think, generally speaking, the Rangers look pretty solid. I was really happy with the Green Ranger. I was really happy with Trini. This is more of the same, and that's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, because there's not really a lot to talk about with these. They are, at least as far as Ultimates go, this is the most basic kind of body that I think they've ever made. Because they're just supposed to be in, you know, spandexy kind of suits. And that shows. They're very much going for a a slimmed down Japanese Sentai suit actor kind of look almost. There's like no musculature on these, and that's not to say, they don't look a little heroic in their proportions. It's just that they don't have, rippling biceps, and there's no, muscle striations or veins or anything popping through the suit. The colors look pretty good. There is a little bit of an inconsistency between colors because of paint versus plastic, but I think it's overwhelmingly pretty hidden. It's not too bad. Like, I can see it now that I've sort of focused on it, but it's not jumping out at me. The one thing that is jumping out at me continuously is the weird scuffing that I've got on my boots right out of the box. Like, they are, both of them, they look like actual boots that have been worn, which I guess is maybe accurate to Sentai footage, because everything was just gross and beaten. But that's kind of weird. Like, he hasn't seen any action yet, and he's already got some paint scuffing, so a little QC issue there. Everything else, though, looks pretty good. The diamonds in particular, I called this out in the Wave 1 reviews. The diamonds on the boots and the gloves are really clean, really crisp. Very happy with those. The line work looks good. The white pops against the red. And of course, you do have your Morpher, you've got your belt, and you've got your holster for your Blade Blaster. The Morpher does look really good here. I've got no issues with that. You can see a little bit of a T-Rex poking through. You can see the Power Rangers there. The one thing I don't like about this belt, though, is what they've had to do to make it work with the Dragon Dagger. So he's always got this nub sticking out now. So there's this thing sticking out, and that's where you'll peg your Dragon Dagger in when you want to do a Dragon Shield power transfer with this guy. It's not a huge thing, but if you don't have him using it, it's going to have this sort of notch that's always there. Not the end of the world, but something to point out. The helmet, though, I think looks really good. This is definitely more accurate than at least the original MMPR Red Ranger in the Lightning Collection. I think this looks really good. I don't think I have any of the newer stuff to even begin to compare, but this looks good. Colors really good, bright and vibrant. Very different finish and texture from the suit, so it's much more glossy. The black looks really good, as does the silver, and all of those teeth within the visor are fully painted, so you've got the silver and the white, which is an often overlooked thing, so I'm happy that they nailed that down. So this guy does look pretty good. He's not perfect by any means, but I think overwhelmingly he's going to look really solid next to the rest of the Rangers, and at this point we've gotten a large chunk of them, and I think he's going to be very much in line with just about anything Ranger-esque. Now, as far as accessories goes, just like the other Rangers thus far, our Red Ranger is pretty well stacked, and again, that does go back to the fact that you're getting two versions of this figure in one box, because we obviously here get the option to armor him up with the Green Ranger's shield and shoulder bangles. So we've got a bunch of stuff here. And to start with, we'll run through heads and hands. So he does come with some extra hands. And I'm going to kind of stress some things on this because I'm finding some oddities when it comes to these hands that I just frankly don't understand. So he does come with fists on him in the box. You get a normal set of fists. We get two sets of gripping hands. You get a horizontal and a lateral set of hinges. So there's 4 hands. You get sort of clawing, gesturing, martial arts pose style hands, a set of those. And then you get a set of another kind of gesturing. They almost look like odd trigger finger hands, but they are not. And that kind of is where I'm going to go with this, because I feel like a lot of these hands cannot hold some of these weapons. He really only has 2 normal sets of gripping hands. And they are super wide because the swords have really, really big hilts. He cannot really hold the Blade Blasters well. He can hold like the dagger version, but the gun version, I can't get him to hold in any hand normally. They just don't want to sit there. So that is slightly annoying. It's not something I'm ever planning on really posing with him, but it's odd. And then to mention something that I brought up earlier, these hands, a lot of the ones that aren't in the arms when you get him in the box, so the hands that are actually just single hands in the tray, they just spin. Like, these are really, really loose. It makes me feel like the peg sizes are different somehow. And like when I have the power sword in this hand, it just sort of flips and flops around. So I guess watch out for that. We do get some extra heads, and this is the same situation that we had with the Tommy and Trini figures. So you get these very almost cartoony looking head sculpts. So here's the Rocky head, and this one is my favorite of the two. But I'm not big on civilian heads for Rangers, so this is kind of a moot point for me. I'm very much in the camp of the sculpts are there, but there is way too much cartoony paint on these. And then the Jason one, I don't think looks very good at all. It's really, really thick. And again, they don't have lips. Like, they have lips, but they don't have them painted. And that really is a problem for me. Seems odd. He looks like an old grandma to me for some reason. But I know that the sculpts are there because I've seen a Tommy head repainted and it looked terrific. So this is just an instance of the factory paint isn't really doing it justice. And then we get a bunch of weaponry and a bunch of other stuff. So as I mentioned previously, we do get the Dragon Dagger holster and it pegs onto that chunk of plastic on the belt. We do, of course, get the Dragon Dagger. Great sculpt, great paint on this thing. This looks good. I'm really happy with it. We get some toy accessories. You get the toy power sword, like the vintage Bandai figures, and the toy blade blaster. We get various forms of the blade blaster, and of course, you get the folded up version. So this is just the neutral mode. We get the dagger mode, and we get the gun mode. And I think part of the problem is that I feel like this is really small, and it just doesn't want to sit in those hands. Like, it's really, really weird. Like, it does not fit in this hand at all. Like, that's not going to work. It just flips and flops all over the place, and there's nothing else here that's really tight enough to utilize it. So it's kind of odd how he's supposed to hold this. It doesn't really want to go in this hand either. Like, this hand is a slightly tighter grip, but it's still not good enough, nor is it a trigger finger hand. And the hands that are sort of trigger finger-y, these, they can't hold it either. So it's just kind of odd. It annoys me. And then we get the power sword, which is easily the best accessory as far as Red Ranger specific stuff in this pack. I think this looks terrific. It's really great. Nice metallics all over it. Sculpt is really good. Very happy with this. I mean, it's an iconic weapon. It looks really great. We get his power crystal. So you get a red crystal with the coin on the top. And then we get a morpher. This is an extended morpher, for a transformation pose if you want to do something like that. And then he comes with, well, you've seen it, he comes with the shield and the bands, the bangles for the Green Ranger powers. Just like the Green Ranger, these are swappable arms, so these arms just pop right out. There's no heat required. They're not that kind of pop and swap. You just pull them right out and pop the other ones in. You get your gold bangles on these arms, and then you take the head off while the arms are off, of course. And you can put your shield on, and I really like the Super 7 sculpt for the shield. It's very Sentai footage accurate in many ways. I think it looks great. The curvature of it and overall sculpt and color I think works really well. And dare I say the Red Ranger looks a lot better for this particular line with this stuff on than without it. I really like the way he looks just like this, and then, load him up with the power sword and the Dragon Dagger and let him go to town on some monsters. So this guy does come with a lot of stuff. Mostly it's just okay. I do have a lot of concerns around these hands. They are really bugging me, and the heads are not my favorite. But a lot of the weaponry and the Ranger-specific stuff here I think is really nice. So yeah, overall this is a pretty solid figure, but he's not without his faults. I think this at face value is a pretty decent Red Ranger. Looks good, moves well, especially for an Ultimates figure, moves well, and I think it looks great with the Green Ranger parts on. Like, this is a really solid armored Red Ranger if you want to go that route. Most of my concerns are more QC-ish. Like, I've got those scuffs on the boots, which are odd, right out of the box, scuffed boots, and then you've got what seem to be odd peg size mismatches when it comes to the hands that are in the arms versus the ones that are in the tray. The ones that are in the tray just sort of spin most of the time and don't have enough friction, not to mention the fact that some of the grips on these hands are too big to hold some of the accessories. I still can't get the Blade Blaster gun mode specifically to be held in any decent way to the point where I really don't want to use it. So it's got some concerns. Not the biggest deal when it comes to that Blade Blaster, but it's still odd and worth mentioning. So that's going to do it for this look at the Super 7 Ultimates Power Rangers Wave 2 Red Ranger. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.